In the heart of the dense southeastern forests of what is now Nigeria, nestled between misty hills and rivers that whispered secrets to the trees, lay the ancient village of Umuahia. This was not the Umuahia that modern travelers might know today, buzzing with markets and echoing with the noise of motorbikes and blaring horns. No. This was the old Umuahia, Umuahia Nde Muo, Umuahia of the spirits. The people of Umuahia lived close to the earth, and even closer to the unseen. Their lives revolved around seasons, omens, and ancestral wisdom. Elders were the custodians of memory, women were the vessels of intuition, and the forests were alive. Every tree, every stream, every wind had a voice, if one only listened deeply enough. But it was also a village haunted by an old prophecy, a tale often told by moonlight, when the air was cool and drums beat gently in the distance. One day, the elders would say, eyes clouded with age and memory, a stranger will come. Handsome like a prince, sweet like fresh palm wine, and dark like secrets buried too long. He will bring gifts, but they will not be gifts. He will offer pleasure, but it will be poison. And those who lie with him shall slither from the warmth of their beds, no longer walking on two legs, but crawling on scales. This tale was laughed at by many of the youth, who had grown weary of the old ways and eager for the world beyond. They danced to new rhythms, wore tight lace blouses and Ankara skirts with loud colors, and joked about the past. But deep inside, when the nights were too quiet and the wind too sharp, they remembered the warning. And feared. Then, he came. He came with the harmattan, when the air turned dry and dusty, and the sun floated like a golden eye behind a gray veil. The villagers first saw him at the edge of the market square, leaning against a tall staff, cloaked in black. His skin was the color of fresh kola nut bark, dark, rich, and smooth. His hair was braided in strange patterns, not quite Fulani, not quite Igbo. His eyes, no one could describe them well. Some said they were golden. Others said red. But everyone agreed on one thing, they were not human. He introduced himself as Obinna, a wanderer and healer from the far-off rivers of Otucha. He carried herbs, rare stones, and new languages that even the village's most learned Dibia had forgotten. The women whispered about him at night. The way his smile was crooked. The way he never seemed to blink. The way goats and dogs avoided him as he passed. Yet he was charming. He spoke in proverbs, danced like a spirit, and could sing songs from every clan in the east. Slowly, he earned the elders' trust. He healed a sick child. Helped an old woman walk again. Gave charms that protected against bad dreams. But he didn't sleep in the shrine or under the trees like other travelers. He stayed in an abandoned hut at the edge of the village. One said to have belonged to a priestess who vanished without a trace. And every few days, a new woman would visit his hut, after the sun had fallen. Neka, the first. She was beautiful, tall, with full hips and eyes that sparkled with rebellion. She was the daughter of Chief Maduako, and though many suitors sought her hand, she loved no one. Until Obinna. At first, she denied it. Said she was only curious, that she had gone to him for protection from evil dreams. But her mother knew. Her sisters knew. Even the village boys knew. Something in her had changed. She walked differently. Spoke in riddles. And her laughter, it now had a hiss in it. One morning, a shriek tore through the village. It was her younger brother. He had entered her room to fetch water, and saw her skin lying on the floor like an old wrapper. Not clothes. Skin. Human skin. Soft, brown, and empty. Neka was gone. That night, the elders found her in the woods, curled under a tree, eyes glowing like embers, her tongue split in two. They tried to keep it quiet. The chief, ashamed and fearful, ordered a private cleansing. The shrine priest burned incense. The elders poured libation and slaughtered a pure white goat. But the gods were silent. And the next week, it happened again. This time, it was Ifyananya, the palm wine tapper's daughter. Then Amara, the tailor's cousin. Each one, after a secret visit to Obina's hut, began to change. Shedding hair. Losing fingernails. Tasting raw meat. Dreaming of rivers and shedding skin like snakes. Soon, it was no longer a secret. The village buzzed with fear. Mothers hid their daughters. Men gathered at night with machetes. The shrine priest declared the stranger a demon. But when they went to the hut to confront him, he was gone. Only the smell of crushed herbs, feathers, and something reptilian remained. The village turned to Mirioma, the oldest oracle in the region. She lived in a cave behind the waterfalls of Nsuka, blind, but able to see into the world beyond. They carried gifts, kola, goat, salt, and a mirror, and sent Ezemuo, the chief priest, to speak with her. She did not greet them. She did not touch the kola. She only whispered, "It has begun again. The lover serpent walks among you. He is not a man, but a curse, one birthed by betrayal long forgotten. You must seek the river where silence sings and offer a heart untainted." "What does that mean?" Ezemuo asked. But the oracle had already turned to stone. Literally. Before their eyes, her body hardened like clay baked in fire, mouth open, eyes wide, frozen in a scream. The night the oracle turned to stone, a red moon rose above Umwahia, a moon so bright and blood-colored that it bathed the entire village in crimson light. It was the sort of omen that needed no interpretation. The elders called for an emergency gathering in the great square. Palm oil torches flickered around them as they sat in a circle. Women wailed in the background, clutching their daughters tightly, afraid they might vanish in the night. The air smelled of sweat, fear, and dried blood. Ezemuo stood in the center, holding the oracle's final words like a riddle in his hands. "A heart untainted, the river where silence sings." "What does it mean?" he asked again. But no one answered. Not even the spirits. Then an old man, nearly forgotten by the community, stepped forward. His name was Udoka, and he was once a messenger of the gods, a traveler of lands most had only heard about in songs. "I know the place," he rasped, pointing his shaky hand eastward. "There is a river past the old forest, where no birds sing and no frogs croak. They say it is cursed. But the water is clear as tears, and if you kneel long enough, you'll hear it hum songs of sorrow. They called it Miri Agwu, the river of curses. And so the village decided, someone must journey there. But not just anyone. A soul untouched by lies, lust, or pride. A heart untainted. They searched far and wide, testing, watching, judging. Until they found Adiz. Adiz was not like the other girls. She was quiet, observant, always helping her mother and listening more than speaking. She never chased boys. Never sought attention. While her peers danced under the moonlight, she watched the stars and carved little wooden animals for children. The village seer tested her spirit. He fed her bitter kola laced with truth root. She passed. He bathed her in sacred water and read the ripples. Still pure. She was the one. Though she was only 17, Adiz accepted her task with a solemn nod. She did not cry. She did not tremble. The women of the village braided her hair with cowrie shells. The elders smeared her body with red camwood and white chalk, marking her as a vessel of hope. When you reach the river, Ezemuo instructed, do not speak. Do not eat. Do not look back, no matter what calls your name. And so, before the sun rose, Adiz departed into the forest. Alone. The forest path to Miri Agwu was not marked on any map. Trees stood too close together. Vines reached like fingers to hold her back. And the deeper she went, the more the forest whispered. They whispered her name. Adiz. Why do you walk alone, child of Umwahia? She kept walking. Twice, she saw shadows moving between trees. Once, she heard her mother's voice, clear as day, crying for help. But she did not turn back. She walked for 3 days, surviving on prayers and resolve. Her feet blistered. Her lips cracked. Her body weakened. Then, just as she was about to collapse, she heard it, a hum, soft and sorrowful, like a mother mourning her stillborn child. She had reached the river. The mirror agua glistened under the starlight, unmoving, almost solid in its stillness. No breeze stirred its surface. No creature drank from it. Adise knelt by the edge. And waited. The moment her knees touched the ground, a ripple passed through the water. The surface shimmered, and a figure emerged, not from the river, but from the very air beside her. It was a woman. Tall, regal, skin like obsidian polished with light. She wore no clothes, but her body was covered in living tattoos, snakes that slithered slowly across her skin, hissing in unison. "You come for redemption," the spirit said. Her voice echoed twice, once in the air and once inside Adise's skull. "But who will you save? The cursed, or the village?" Adise opened her mouth to answer, but remembered the warning. She said nothing. The spirit frowned. One of the snakes hissed angrily. "Speak, or you will lose them all." Still, Adise kept her silence. Then, the spirit lifted her hand and pointed to the river. The waters parted, revealing a vision beneath. She saw Neka, Amara, Ifyananya, all crawling on their bellies, half human, half snake, hissing and crying beneath the moon. Their eyes wept tears of blood. "They are lost," the spirit said. "But not by their choice. The curse is not theirs alone." Adise finally spoke, just one sentence. "Then show me the truth." The vision changed. The river's depths swirled, and another scene unfolded. Centuries ago, in a time before Umwahia was called by name, there lived a great goddess named Agwadike, the queen of rivers. She fell in love with a mortal man, tall, brave, foolish. He promised her loyalty. He swore to worship her forever. But the moment she gave him her power, transformed his blood to magic and made him more than man, he turned on her. Slept with her maidens. Mocked her worship. Defiled her shrines. Heartbroken, she cursed him. "You shall forever walk the earth in desire, turning those you touch into what you are. Neither man, nor God, but beast. You shall know pleasure, but never love. You shall see beauty, but bring only ruin." That man was Obina. And every 100 years, his curse returned him to the earth, to seduce, corrupt, and vanish once more. Adise wept. Not out of fear, but sorrow. "What must I do?" she asked the spirit. "Take this," the spirit said, producing a single thong made of crystal and fire. "Drive it through his heart when he returns. But know this, once the curse is broken, those already transformed will never be human again. You can save the village. Or try to save your sisters." And with that, the river swallowed the vision. When Adise returned to Umwahia, she carried more than just the crystal thong. She carried knowledge, and a heavy heart. The village welcomed her like a hero, with drums and dancing. But she did not smile. Her eyes searched every shadow, every corner. She knew he would return. The curse demanded it. And he did. 3 nights after the blood moon faded, he walked into Umwahia as if nothing had happened. Obina. Beautiful, deadly, smiling as if he hadn't caused chaos. He wore a white wrapper and held a staff made from a tree that no longer grew. He came not as a stranger, but as a friend. "I bring healing," he told the villagers. "I know of your suffering. Let me lay my hands on your sick, your cursed." The people, desperate and fearful, nearly let him. But Adise stood before him, dressed in white, her crystal thong hidden beneath her wrapper. You are not welcome, she said. Your time is finished. He looked at her. And for the first time in centuries, Obinna blinked in confusion. Who are you? The end of your story, she answered. But the serpent man was cunning. He smiled again and knelt in the sand. Then strike, girl. Kill me now. But she hesitated. Because behind him, Neka slithered into view. Her face was still her own, but her lower body was all scales, heavy and glistening. She hissed with sadness in her eyes. Don't kill him, she whispered. If he dies, we remain like this, forever. The elders convened an emergency gathering in the great square. The village was split. Some wanted Obinna dead, fearing what he might do next. Others, mostly those with daughters already changed, begged for a way to reverse the curse without more blood. Adiz was torn. The crystal fong pulsed with heat every time she touched it. The spirit's warning echoed in her ears, you can save the village, or try to save your sisters. She sought counsel from Udoka, the old messenger. Sometimes, he said, a curse is not undone by killing, but by understanding its shape. That night, Adiz approached Obinna in secret. Not to strike, but to listen. And he spoke. He told her about Agwadike, the river goddess. About his betrayal. About centuries of loneliness. He claimed he never wanted to hurt the girls, only that his curse could not be controlled. Each time I return, he whispered, I hope someone will end me. But they always fall in love first. Adiz asked him one question. Can you love anyone truly? He didn't answer. That night, Adiz dreamt of snakes. Hundreds of them. Writhing, whispering, crying in voices that belonged to the girls of Umwahia. They circled her, showing memories, of their laughter, their dances, their hopes before Obinna. She awoke sweating, heart pounding. In the darkness, she heard a soft song drifting from the forest edge. It was Ifyananya, her voice now split in two, half human, half hiss. She was singing the lullaby their mothers used to sing by moonlight. Adiz followed it. And found the girls, 7 of them, coiled around the roots of the sacred Irako tree, waiting. Watching. They begged her not to kill him. But they were afraid, too. If he goes, we're stuck like this, said Amara, her eyes glowing faintly green. But if he stays, others will suffer. Adiz made a promise then. I will not choose between saving you and saving the village. There must be another way. Desperate, Adiz returned to Miri Agwul. She sang to the waters. Wept into them. Begged for the spirit to return. When the river finally shimmered, the woman with the tattooed serpents appeared again, taller, darker, more terrifying than before. You return without obedience, the spirit said. There must be another way. The spirit narrowed her eyes. There is always another way. But it demands a price. What price? A life for a life. A heart willingly given. Mine. No. His. Adiz paused. He must give it freely, then. Yes. Not from fear. Not from pain. He must give his life in love. And with that, the vision ended. The task was clear, Obinna must sacrifice himself not because he was hunted, but because he finally understood love. Adiz returned to Umwahia for the final time. She asked for one night alone with Obinna. They walked together through the forest, where the moonlight poured like silver milk through the trees. She told him of her journey. Of the river. Of the choice. If you love them. Truly love them, she said, you know what you must do. Obinna said nothing for a long while. Then he asked her. Would you cry for me? Adiz looked at him. And whispered, yes. In the morning, she walked alone from the forest. The crystal fawn was gone. And where the Irako tree stood, 7 girls stood again on human legs, weeping, whole, their scales gone, their eyes wet. But Obinna was nowhere to be found.